Hi, I'm Chris Urquhart, publisher of Natural Awakenings, and I'm here today with Gina Kearney. Gina is a clinical herbalist as well as a flower essence practitioner, and she's also the owner of Herbs and Owls. In addition to that, she's also the owner of Willow Holistic Business Coaching, which empowers health and wellness entrepreneurs with the strategy and tools to create a business that deeply resonates with their vision, purpose, and path. Thank you so much for talking with me today, Gina.
Thank you, Chris. I'm glad to be here.
So you have a bit of a unique background where you've brought together two different worlds. You have experience as in business strategy and then also as a holistic wellness practitioner. Can you share a little bit about your experience and how you went from one to the other and how that worked out for you?
Sure. So I started my career in .com in the late 90s, and I worked in digital marketing and media for a very long time. And when I had my first son, I decided that I was never going to ask for a day off again. And so I went out and I started my own online marketing agency, which I ran for 10 years. And at that same time, actually previous to that, in my 20s, I was suffering with panic and anxiety. And that was my sort of introduction to herbal medicine, because I had found wonderful plant allies that helped me manage that anxiety and manage that stress. And so it was something that I always revered and loved and sort of practiced on my own and read a lot of books on my own. But it wasn't until I lost my mother that I really decided to formalize my training. And I went to a 3-year clinical herbalism program in New York City, which really helped me to formalize my passion. And I ultimately launched a clinical herbalism practice here in Stuart, Florida. And what I discovered through entering this wellness community of all of us is that so many wellness practitioners start their business because they had some type of healing crisis, or they experienced some healing modality that they thought, oh my goodness, like I have to do this, I have to share this with people. But what they didn't realize, and that what many of us come to realize, is that you have to be an entrepreneur, and you have to think about your business and your market and your website and all of these things that you necessarily weren't trained in or an expert in. And so I have a little offshoot of my Herbs and Owls herbalism practice that helps wellness practitioners navigate this and really think about how do you structure your practice around your passion and your desire, and then get a website and do all these different technical things, because my goal really is to have as many of us with these beautiful healing practices bring it to as many people as possible, especially now when it's needed more than ever.
Absolutely. So right now, I've talked to a number of people whose businesses have just been stopped because right now we're under social distancing orders, and our massage therapists, for example, their arms are not 6 feet, so they can't do business. So do you have some advice for people who are finding themselves maybe just kind of spinning and a little bit in shock and not sure which way to turn?
Yeah, well, I can, speak of my own experience. Really early on in deciding to launch an herbal practice, I realized that much like having an agency, I was always trading hours for dollars. If I'm in an office meeting with somebody, there is a revenue associated with that hour. If I'm teaching a class, it's one to many, right? And what I think is really important is that you look at the ways in which your business earns money, so that you're supporting your business and yourself, and you diversify those income streams. And so some examples of this are, one, your in-person practice, which right now we're all closed or close to it. Secondly is offering your services online or through Zoom, like many of us are these days. Third is, launching online courses or doing different webinars that people could pay for, so you can be educating and growing your community. Another is finding a product or a group of products that align with what your business is, that you can feel passionate about. And so when I looked at all of these different ways to make sure that I wasn't sort of putting all my eggs in one basket, I looked at these different venues. And, I did launch an online course a while ago, just to kind of expand my reach. And a product line that really resonated with me was Juice Plus, which is, 100% whole food nutrition. And so it's whole plants, whole medicine, whole food medicine. It kind of all came together for me. And so that made sense. So I think it's important to look at what are other ways that you can make money. What are other things that you can incorporate into your practice, that support your clients, but also support what your vision is for your business and sustain you when one part of your business, your revenue income, it gets pulled away, like we're seeing right now.
So if someone's kind of thinking through all of their options, it might seem a little bit of overwhelming. How do you recommend they start to find that extra thing? What should they look for?
Yeah, well, there's a few things. So going back to starting your wellness practice as something that is really born out of your soul and out of your vision for how you want to help people and help yourself, you have to find things that really align with your specific expression of your healing modality, right? So some people love to write, some people love to take photos. And I think that based on how you want to create content, let's say we're talking about creating online content. So creating a course, if that resonates with you, then think about, okay, what are topics that, my audience or areas that I want to grow into that I can create courses out of that. If you are just getting started and you're not quite sure what you want to do and you have a website and some social media platforms, you can ask. You have people who are invested in you, they're invested in what you're doing, and you can say, what do you want to see more of? How can I serve you better? And see where those markets sort of start popping up and think about, is there something here that I can be doing? In terms of products, again, it has to come back to what are you doing in your practice, and is this right for you and your customer, and does this financially make sense for you? Because our time is valuable. And every activity that we partake in as part of our business needs to have some kind of quantifiable component, and not every moment, a lot of it is done if we're doing research or we're learning, that's about investing in ourselves. But when we're thinking about our business, we want to make sure that the activities that we're engaged in are right for our particular form of business and our clients and our income, so that we can stay in business and help more and more people.
So if I'm using this time and I'm brainstorming, and maybe I think of 10 different things that I want to, that might work for me, might be a little bit overwhelming. Would you recommend something like a business plan, or do I just pick something and dive in?
Yeah. So I think that writing out a whole business plan, sometimes, the devil is in the details and you get caught there and stuck and things just sort of die before they even begin. I would, take a moment, take an inventory of where your business is today, think about where you want to be in the future, and start taking positive steps towards getting there. So if your dream is to write a book, start writing a blog and figure out how to, write an outline of what are the different categories that you want to blog about. And then, over time, write on those different topics, and you could repackage those into a book or into an online course or into a little ebook that you can give to people. If you want to have a product line, whether it's your own, which is a whole nother undertaking, or there's a company that you want to align with, ask, how could I expand my practice and incorporate these products where, you're then earning revenue either in commissions or residual income, which, is something that I really didn't think about until later on in my career and kind of moving into herbal practice. Because had I understood the role that residual income could have in the future, in my future 20 years ago, things would have been a little bit easier along the way. And one thing I happen to really like about it is, especially in a situation that we're in right now, if you have a business that has a component of residual income, so like Juice Plus, or some people sell essential oils, or, you know, whatever it may be, those checks don't stop coming when your door's shut and you can't see clients. And it's a nice little security blanket to have on the side. And again, I'm not saying just join one because, you know, it's a thing to do. It has to be something that really aligns with your passion and really aligns with how you're helping people. But for me, in my experience of going through what we're going through right now, I had my greatest month last month, which is completely contrary to what's happening in my practice, which is now closed, other than virtual consults. But not everybody, you know, wanted to move online. They want to wait to see me in person. So I would recommend that. So find a product or a business that you align with. Start thinking about where you see your business in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, whether it's having a big social media following and launching online courses and, you know, growing your revenues online so you don't need to be in the business. But start laying the foundation step by step, because if you go all in and put together this huge plan, it just becomes overwhelming and you're not growing naturally and in an organic way with how you want to practice and how you want to grow your business.
I did notice in your own experience, the two options that you chose, one was an herbal course and the other being Juice Plus, that both of them seem to really align with what you're passionate about. So it seems like if we're spinning and we're choosing it, is that an important place to be, is looking for something that excites us? Is that more important maybe than something you think would create more revenue potentially? I mean, we're
yeah, well, there's always a balance.
Jump on.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a balance. And, you know, in my holistic business coaching, I say, what part of your business earns the most money? What part of your business do you enjoy the most, right? And usually they're not the same. Some people it's the same and that's fantastic, but, you know, sometimes it's not the same. And so, you know, in crafting the pieces, all the different cogs in a wheel of the ways in which I practice, whether that's, you know, one-on-one with people, which is my most favorite way to practice, or teaching online, or having a product or products that I talk about. It all comes back to the same thing. So at the core of my herbal practice is using whole plant medicine and whole food nutrition. I'm not a nutritionist, however. It is about the whole plant. This is the roots, the stems, the barks, the fruit, the seeds, all of it, because I believe that Mother Nature makes very intentional decisions on how things are created, and in the whole form is the best medicine that we can have. And so when I looked at how do I want to teach that, so first there's an education about what even is an herbalist, right? And sometimes I'll do that online, or I will do classes to explain what is an herbalist. Some people think I grow plants. They call me up and ask if I have, you know, parsley and basil. But, you know, one is teaching, you know, what is it? And another platform is online. So I have how to manage stress and anxiety with herbs and flower essences online course on Udemy. So they have a built-in audience. It was relatively easy to set up an online course. And it's just another way that I can disseminate the information, because for me, it's about giving people the information and the tools to make healthy choices, and not having healing bestowed upon you, but being an active part of your own healing. So as an herbalist, we educate about whole plants. I have conversations all the time about food, and I found that Juice Plus was a really simple way through a capsule or gummy just to start getting the right phytonutrients into people. Instead of writing, all right, we're revamping everything that you eat, you know, like try to take away, you know, a burger and it's like an uproar, you know, so you know, it's about finding simple ways to help people empower themselves. And in business, it's about finding ways to empower your business, right? So the platforms are just tools. Facebook is a tool, Instagram is a tool, it doesn't matter. It is, how do you want to express your business, and how do you pull these things all together so they feed each other, right? So Facebook feeds your online course, which feeds your in-person one-on-one practice, which feeds the products that you're offering, which then, you know, build your online presence and referrals, and it goes around in a circle. And if you are diligent and clear about how those pieces fit together in a really beautiful way, you will create a beautiful, sustainable business.
That's a really great analogy. It helps to visualize it, and where we're going to go. And if you have all the parts of the wheel, I assume the analogy goes further in that it's going to roll more smoothly if it's a solid wheel and put together right. So.
Right. And we don't get there overnight. I mean, I've worked with many businesses over the years in helping them with their business strategy, in my old career. And you really don't get there overnight. And I would say that for wellness practitioners, you cannot read a "How do I start a business" book and go out and do it, because we have so personalize what it is we're bringing to the table and what our form of healing, just the idea of sitting down with someone and having a conversation and having, you really listening to your clients and hearing and becoming part of their story and part of their healing journey is healing in and of itself. And so there isn't a formula for these types of businesses. And so you really are only limited by your creativity. The tools are there. Our phones have given us, this little phone has given us access to do whatever it is that we want to do. But you need to just be clear, on what activities are you doing in your business that generate revenue, which ones don't, what should you get rid of, what should you have an assistant for, where should you put more of your time. And I want to point out something. So many times people will look at this and they get a lot of advice from people and they'll say, you need to be doing this. You have to, blog every day and go on Facebook every day and, do all this stuff. And you do it for a few days and it just to sit down at your computer and create that content is killing you. It's so hard. There's this unbelievable friction. Take a step back and take a breath and say, how do I love to create? How is it through paintings? Is it through poetry? Is it through photography? Is it through writing? Is it just by calling people? I mean, I call people, about Juice Plus, I love you and I need you to know that this exists. That personal connection, and find out a month from now, can you still be doing this action and still be happy about it? And then you'll know that it's right in your heart and it's right for your clients, because that's what you're delivering.
So it sounds like from everything you've said, it's not necessarily about, even though you want to give thought to where you're going, it's not about making this huge plan. It's about having a general idea, taking a step and letting things unfold. Yes. That's an accurate.
It's now ripping down the curtain, taking your first step.
Yeah.
Your first step and then taking another, and especially in our beautiful field of health and wellness, making sure that it's feeding your soul, because when it is, it's going to help every single one of your clients.
Right. And if you stay in alignment and it's something you're passionate about, your next step will show up in your path.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, not even, woo-woo about that, staying in alignment. Businesses are not about making one decision today and going a different way tomorrow and the next day and the next. This is about staying a course and setting up real parameters for what is resonating with me and what isn't resonating with me, and when is the right time to open an office and when is the right time to launch a course, but it's a little bit that you do every day in a smart way where you're feeding different areas of revenue generation that ultimately becomes something that will support you for years to come. And I urge all of us, we have a time right now to take a breath. The earth is taking a breath. And really think about your business. Make a list. What do you love doing? If you started your business all over, from scratch today, what is something that you would never, ever do again? Get rid of the things that are not serving you. Get rid of the people maybe that aren't serving you, and make some real decisions about how you want to move forward. But I can't stress the importance enough of not putting all your eggs in one basket. Have different ways to generate revenue, because think about it, and they're not all different audiences, right? So you have one client who sees you in person, who then, purchases a course from you because you're helping them grow in an additional way. And then they're, potentially buying products through you because it's making sense in what they're doing. And then they're referring their friends. And so it becomes this customer life cycle. It's much easier to earn more money earn additional revenue, grow that relationship with someone who's already working with you than it is to find new people. And so really think about, what else can you offer and how can you do that? And if you can't figure out how to put it together, ask somebody or YouTube it or call me or, figure out like, who do I need to make this happen? And I, it's about, and I find anyway, especially with my wellness entrepreneurs, it's 100% about rolling up your sleeves and making it happen. It's not about talking about it. It's not about writing out these big plans that are never going to get done. It's about rolling up your sleeves, putting your toe in the water, being really uncomfortable because you've never done it before, and just submerging your whole foot. Yeah, I mean, and then your whole body, right? That uncomfortableness means you're growing, and you need to grow. Businesses are living, breathing, thriving things. And these businesses, our businesses, are reflections of us. And so great, you're going to grow along with it.
Thank you so much, Gina, for sharing all of your insights and your wisdom. It's been really, really enlightening. I enjoyed it a lot.
Thanks.
For those of you who want to connect with Gina, you can find her online. Gina's website is herbsandowls.com, and she is also practicing in person when we're released. I highly recommend going to visit her in this beautiful setting at Salt of the Earth, which is located at 422 Southwest Akron Avenue in beautiful downtown Stuart. And you can give her a call at 516-984-4615. So thanks again, Gina. And everyone, be well, stay connected.
Bye, everyone.